7:04 PM, I'll call the Selectmen's meeting to order, and I would yield the floor to the town manager. We have some introductions, folks to meet this evening, people who will be working here in town, and this will be an opportunity for the folks at home to see their faces and associate a name with their face and their position. So having said that, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Board members, I'd like to introduce two new employees. First, Ms. Stacy Barr, if you would, Stacy. Stacy is started work yesterday. She is our Director of Community Programs. You'll recall I combined the duties of the Director of the Senior Center and the Community Center into one position. She's already met with the Council on Aging. They were sufficiently impressed. She started working there. I hope the folks at the Senior Center are happy. And brings some skills to the operation at the community center. She was a recreation director in Attleboro, was recently in Auburn, and before that, before Attleboro in Holden, did a similar feat of making that efficiency, putting things together, and making them, in fact, money makers. So we look forward. Stacy, I'd like to introduce you to the board members. This is Chairman Casey.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, too.
Selectman Lamountain.
How are you?
Very good.
Selectman Coonan.
Nice to meet you.
Selectman Gallant.
Nice to meet you.
Selectman Sad.
And nice to meet you.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything to that? Did I hit it all?
If you want to introduce
No, I just
yourself.
wanted to say that I look forward to doing long and short-term planning for the town. I'm very excited to be here, and I've been here for 2 days, and I feel more than welcome.
Nice.
And I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you better and working with you.
Thank you. Board members, any questions, comments? Selectman Sad?
Yes, just for informational purposes, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, where is your office? Is it over at the
Don't ask me
community
the phone
center, or
numbers.
is it over here?
No, it's over here. It would be the senior center number, 6,000.
Okay.
Right, that is going to be my main office, is here at the
Okay,
senior
so
center.
Any telephone calls regarding the director of the community center could be
Forwarded?
forwarded to
Sure,
the
and
senior
I'm
center.
sure I will get the message if I just happen not to be there at the time of the phone call. But I'm sure that I will retrieve my messages on a daily basis, and I'm usually very good in returning all phone calls.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Thank you.
And I also like to introduce Mr. Richard Donay. Richard, if you would. Excuse me.
Guess it's gonna fall off, but it's not.
I might. Richard is the new Facilities Maintenance Coordinator. I've assured him that it's not the job that is dangerous, and he's willing to take it.
With that introduction,
It might be something in the air in my office. Would you look into that? Richard has experience with, a long-term experience with Corning in, is it? Marlboro. Until they went out of business with the growth in the fiber optic business. 20-year veteran of the Connecticut National Guard, retired as major. He brings his military experience to the job as well. I was impressed with some of his ideas on inventory control and scheduling. Richard's also started today. He's got some big shoes to fill, but I think he'll do quite fine. If I could?
very good.
Richard?
Yes.
Chairman Casey?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Selectman Lamount?
Nice to meet you.
Selectman Coonan?
Hello again. Again? Yes.
Selectman Gallant?
Nice to meet you.
And Selectman Sad.
Thank you very much.
Richard's main office is at the old Barton Street fire station. I think it was the garage before that. However, I would ask the public not to call him. He has enough to do with the public buildings.
Would you like to offer anything, or say
Well, I
anything?
would also like to echo Tracy's enthusiasm and pleasure at being able to serve the town, and I hope to be able to build on the initiatives of my predecessor and move the maintenance efforts of the town from, right now, what I see as a reactive type of maintenance to a more proactive type, where we'll do preventive maintenance, and hopefully in the future, predictive maintenance, where we control when and how things are repaired, rather than waiting until they break.
Well, that's good to hear. I think it's a focus that's been much overdue. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is a public hearing, transfer of stock at Centerfolds 2000. I will read the public hearing notice into the record. Jonathan Finkelstein, attorney at law, 19 Cedar Street, Worcester, Massachusetts, who is the attorney for Oxco Inc., DBA Centerfolds 2000, which is located at 139 Southbridge Street in North Oxford, has applied to the Oxford Board of Selectmen for a transfer of stock concerning their all-alcoholic common victualler license. Oxco Inc. is petitioning the Selectmen for permission to transfer 15 shares of stock as follows: to allow William DeYeso of 48 Barstow Avenue, Norwell, Massachusetts, to sell and transfer 5 shares of his stock to Joseph Amante of 10 Stickney Circle, Twin Mountain, New Hampshire, and 10 shares of his stock to Kevin Keith of 20-foot Knollwood Drive, Charlton, Massachusetts. Public hearing will be held before the Oxford Board of Selectmen regarding this matter on Tuesday, December 11th, 2007, at 7 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room on the second floor of the Town Hall, 325 Main Street, Oxford, Massachusetts. I do see that we have some of the proponents for this transfer with us. Good evening, Attorney Finkelstein.
Madam Chair, I'll be stepping down for the next
Okay, thank you,
delay.
Selectman Glant.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
This is a request by Oxco to transfer some stock from Mr. DeYeso, who was a little over 36% shareholder, to 2 current stockholders, Mr. Amante and Mr. Keefe. They're just increasing their shares.
Right, nobody new coming on.
Nobody new coming in.
It's just all internal.
All just all internal.
See
You have a
here.
copy of the purchase and stock agreement for your application.
Okay. Any board members, any questions or comments? It does appear that this packet is in order. To the clerk, was there a fee associated with this request?
To the ABCC.
Okay. Thank you. That was the only question I had. I would entertain a motion to approve these transfers of stock as set forth.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moving seconded, discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, motion carries. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. Happy holiday.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, we are a few minutes ahead of schedule, but I believe that everybody is here. It's a liquor violation regarding the Villager, license holder Paul Holmberg. We have attached in our packet a letter from the Oxford Police Department that was hand-delivered to Mr. Holmberg, notifying him of this evening's hearing. We have correspondence from Chief Boss regarding the compliance checks that took place on November 9th, 2007, as well as our policies on this matter. I see that Mr. Holmberg is here. Would you like to come forward, sir? And I also see that Officer Gurnett is here as well. Thank you. Board members, questions, comments? I'd entertain any motions. Selectman Lamountain.
I don't know if Mr. Holmberg wants to offer anything, or it was just one of those things.
Well, it was Connie that waited on him. He was, she tells me he was a rather tall guy, and he appeared to be like 26, 28 years old. According to the police report, he was 2 months short of 21. And she just missed it, that's all.
Okay.
Just what seems to happen a lot. Madam Chair, I know that we have a former letter that was sent to Paul back on March 14th, '06. If I'm not mistaken, 1208B back then had given a 12-month probationary period. It wasn't until April of that year that it was changed to 30 months. So if we're going to look at this violation, I would like to look at it as a first offense because of the expiration of the probationary period from the last time there was a violation. and recommend that we follow procedure 1208B and offer a 3-day suspension, being a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as we have in the past. I don't know what days are there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You're blocking the
Which
calendar,
month?
Sam. December or January, it really,
December would be 17, 18, 19?
that's too soon.
Mr. Holmberg?
May-
Please.
Could I request January?
Yes,
I think that's-
we've extended that courtesy to the other license holders. Would it, early, mid, late?
31.
Early?
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
So January 7th, 8th, 9th, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
fine.
Is that, okay.
Are those Monday, Tuesday,
can see
Wednesdays?
this?
No, that's Sunday.
No, you have to shift, because this is 07.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, it's 7, 8, and 9.
7, 8, 9, January? That'd be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Madam Chair, I make a motion that we suspend 7, 8, 9, January 07, 08.
Second it?
Second discussion? There being none, I will call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention. We'll have those 3 days for the suspension period. I appreciate you coming in and just, it is what it is. Okay. Next item on the agenda, I do see that Mr. Farland is here. Mr. Farland, thank you. And his daughter, Linda Dixon. Hi.
Madam Chair,
Selectman Sad.
I'm going to excuse myself. My son has a Class II license, therefore, due to any possible conflict, I will be stepping down from this item.
Okay. Right, we have a request for an alteration to a Class II license that exists at 45 Leicester Street. It's an expansion. And we have received information from Tech Review, as well as an opinion from Town Council, which gives us pretty much carte blanche discretion here, as we are the issuing authority of a Class II license. I'm going to bifurcate these two requests, only because my father holds an outdoor business permit, so I will be abstaining from that portion of the request, but I am going to vote on the Class II request. Okay, so if we could just take up the request to expand with respect to the Class II license, and I would open it up if my board members have any questions or comments. Selectman Lamountain.
Connie, I do have a question. The 142 or 43 cars that you have,
Yes.
you're not looking to increase the number, correct?
No, we're not.
Okay, so are you looking to decrease the number of cars you have on the lot for sale, so that you have cars for rent?
Yes. What we'll do is, we'll stay within the guidelines, and to be honest with you, we haven't reached 143 cars. But whatever cars that we add on as a rental, we'll deduct that from the total that we're allowed on the property. So nothing will change as far as the aesthetics or the amount of cars that we have.
What is the total number of cars that
I think it's 142,
No,
100,
but I mean that you've had on site,
right now.
42.
We probably got about maybe, at tops, maybe 90, 100.
90 to
tops.
100. Have you ever gotten to the point of renting out space? In your original, in your 2005 hearing with Planning Board, you had talked about setting up or renting out, you'd have yours and somebody else would
It
rent
never
some space.
materialized.
And what about the flea market? What happened with that?
No, the flea market, we still have a permit for that, but it's not active.
It's not active?
No.
Okay, because part of when you came before us in '01, you said as the car business expanded from the 20 cars or whatever you had, the flea market would decrease.
Yes, and it did.
And it did decrease.
It did decrease.
It's minimally active, very minimally active.
Okay, so, Madam Chair, I guess through you, I don't know, the rental business isn't within the purview of the Board of Selectmen, is it? That we issue the Class II license?
Yes.
And we issue the yard sale license?
Yes, but I understood that, but we thought that if we have to go to Tech Review Committee, it would be nice to at least present it to you and get some input from you people rather than say, how come you got a license here to rent cars, you know?
Right.
So that's
We're all on the same
what we
page.
did.
We're an open book.
Okay, so is this, I guess my question now to town manager in your former role as town engineer, is this something that planning board has to take up? Because is it considered a change of use, whereas it's cars versus cars?
It's cars versus, it's cars. Is it a change in use? It's not, he's not looking to stop selling cars.
Right.
And abandon his Class 2 license and start renting cars. We did some research on the question, and it is true that Schmidt Equipment, which holds a Class 1 license, also rents equipment. And they didn't need any special permission to do that, but it's common to the vehicles they.
So this is just
They sell.
informational, Connie, because there's nothing for, in my position as selectman, to take up unless you were asking for a reduction in the number of cars or an increase in the number of cars. Okay.
I think that's appropriate. Mr. Farland's letting the board know that this is what he intends to do. I would suggest that he would go back to the planning board because there will be a question of office space. I do recall several years ago when you were before the planning board that
Everything was
you were
still the same.
working out of your home.
Yes.
All right, and that's because all the property was lumped together.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that intensifies, I doubt that there's an intensification in the kind of traffic you'd have. But there'll be questions about the office.
Zoning had no problem, correct?
It's an allowed use in that district.
I've talked to another rental companies to find out, like I called Webster. Webster has 2 rental companies, and I call the Board of Selectmen's secretary, and I call the clerk, town clerk, and they said, no, it's not an issue that's taken up by the board. It's something that they do on their own, and as long as they're zoned for that, there's no problem. Like Harborough and Webster is one, the other one is Place Motors, all right? And so I checked with them to see, and they said that they didn't have a licensing board, so to speak, to do this.
Yeah, I think it would make sense to go back to the planning board, just, even if it's just on the issue of where the parking spots would be, if it's gonna be some rental.
Well, like I said, we met with the tech review, and the planning director was there, and again today, he said that he seen no issue with it, all right?
With the layout.
Yeah,
So if
with
they
layout.
don't, then, I mean, it's,
Because nothing really changes. You know, there's nothing that really changes except that we have probably, instead of having 6 unregistered cars, we have 6 cars that are registered. You know, that's the only change.
okay, okay. So really, the issue before the board tonight is requesting the outdoor business permit.
No?
Is not requesting the outdoor business permit?
Which is
So this is just a purely
Purely
informational FYI?
to respect the board.
Okay, okay, so then we know what's going on over there. You're gonna start exercising that license in the rental vehicles. Okay. Well, this is good.
Okay?
If more people did this.
A lot of questions.
Right?
Connie, good, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Sure, take
thank you,
care.
Connie. Okay.
It's easy.
Mr. Manager, Town Manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Board members, annual town meeting will be here soon. Town Clerk Lori Kelly has requested that the Board of Selectmen set town meeting date for Thursday, May 1st, 2008, at 7 PM in the Oxford High School Auditorium. Pleasure of the board.
I'd entertain a motion to schedule that meeting.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, discussion. Selectman Lamont and then Selectman Glant.
Thank you. Joe, I know that the May town meeting has to be held in the first week of May.
That's right.
Now, where this falls like on a Thursday for the first Friday, the first week means the first 7 days of May, correct? Not like the first physical week, but the first 7 days in the month, right?
It's my opinion that it's, the first week is the first 7 days, correct?
Thank you, okay, because I know that.
Not the
there was a
first period,
confusion.
not the first Monday through Saturday period.
Right, because it would be a son of a
Or
gun
Sunday
if
through
The first
Saturday.
was on a Saturday.
Yeah,
and
then,
what?
that's right, then what?
Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Selectman Glant.
Well, along the same line, why aren't we meeting then on the 7th, the Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month?
The presidential primary.
We've had them
No,
before.
we have that,
She wanted to move.
February 5th is the presidential primary.
The memo from the clerk requested that we set the meeting as soon as possible because of the move, the state just voted to move our presidential primary. And that was the reason we got it in our packets this week, and she'd asked that we schedule the meeting sooner as opposed to later.
I read that memo, but I still don't understand why we're not having it on the 7th.
I thought it was pretty,
Wednesday, I mean, we're meeting on Wednesdays for forever.
Well, then,
and-
it's a matter of the political calendar was her concern, was being able to get everything scheduled on time because of the presidential primary being moved up. And that was her concern, her political calendar.
I guess we don't have to worry about a quorum anymore,
No,
right?
we should hit 100.
That would be my concern about changing the date to a Thursday.
Selectman Said and Selectman Coonan.
Yeah, I have the same question that Selectman Glant has. I didn't see anything in there from the clerk that indicated she wanted to change the town meeting because of the presidential primary. Presidential primary is February 5th. I mean, from February 5th to May 1st is what a difference in time.
No, it's because all of the work that the presidential primary, shifting of the presidential primary is having now. She wants to get everything organized ahead. You could hold it on the 7th.
Wasn't it for staff?
You could hold it on the 7th, and then, but then the election would be the third Tuesday. Well, the election's going to be on the 20th. The local election will be on May 20th, regardless of when you hold town meeting.
I agree with Selectman Glant. I don't see any reason why it can't be the first Wednesday of the month.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Why don't we have the clerk come in before we schedule it? Because in reading through that, I think if you lay out all the dates, and there are things that her office has to do that I'm sure we're not privy to. I mean, there are a number of things that she has to do to prepare for these different things. Maybe if she comes in and explains why she's asking for that date, I interpreted it to mean that, look, I have a lot to do between these states, and when they moved up the presidential primary, they squeezed my time. So what I'm asking the board to do, even if it's just a week between town meeting and the local elections, I think that's what she was looking for. And I don't want to speak for her, but that was what I got out of the memo. So if we want to have the clerk in, if she could come in and explain it, if the board would like to get clarification on that.
Yeah, I would, because I don't understand how the presidential primary affects the May annual town meeting.
Okay.
I just can't understand it, and I agree with Selectman Glant.
All right, Selectman Coonan?
Thank you. One thing, if you read a little bit further on, and I had a conversation with town manager about that earlier, and we discussed the same thing. Well, it's always been on the Wednesday, looking at possible dates. One advantage to going to on a Thursday, you have that 36 days where the warrant goes, that the warrant would then close on Wednesday, March 26th. How many times at our meetings have we been here on a Tuesday and say, well, we have to get this done, we have to get this done, and say, wait a minute, the warrant will close at 4 o'clock to close of business. Going on a Thursday would allow us an additional meeting, that if different warrant articles did come up, for us to discuss them and act on those articles. So that's one advantage by going on a Thursday. It does give us an additional meeting.
The charter specifies that the warrant must close 36 days before the town meeting. Typically, the warrant would close at the close of business on Tuesday, because the town meeting is on a Wednesday. If the town meeting is on a Thursday, the warrant will close on a Wednesday, which means you would have one more meeting for last-minute articles.
Before the warrant closes?
Before the warrant closes.
Okay, so...
That's an absolute. It must
All right.
close 36 days.
So using that logic, if we move it to the 7th, then it gives us one more week.
Right.
That's right.
As well.
It gives you 6
Isn't
more
it better
days.
to go to
yeah.
the 7th?
Yeah, but what's the big deal between the 1st and the 7th, in all due respect? I mean, we say that it's always been set on a Wednesday, but if you ask people, what day is the town meeting been on, nobody's going to say, we always have it on a Wednesday. I mean, we've moved it around to Monday nights, trying to get a quorum. I think we've had it on Thursday nights at certain times. And I mean, we can have the clerk in, and I certainly will do that, so we can get an explanation, but I just don't see what the,
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind
What the
voting
big
for it if
deal
there's
is.
a legitimate reason for it, but just to vote for it because the clerk wants us to vote for it isn't good enough reason for me when the charter says that we set the town meeting.
That's right.
I mean, I can appreciate her memorandum. I was satisfied with it, but if, through the clerk, if we can maybe put a call into her office and see when she'd be available, sooner as opposed to later, maybe next week. Maybe get her in at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
So you
move the
need-
motion, Madam Chair.
Okay,
Move
motion.
my second.
Thank you.
Well, that then obviates the need for my item 2. We go on to item 3. IOD, request the board vote to approve the injured on duty request of a police officer for injuries received on November 27th, 2007, and that he be paid IOD beginning on November 28th, 2007, and continue until he is released from his physician's care. Additionally, any sick leave charged during this period shall be returned. The paperwork is in the to be signed folder. Pleasure of the board.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Move in second. Discussion. There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative.
Thank you. Now, Oxco, they've left. Oxco is centerfolds. Oxford has requested the board vote to allow them to build during the evening hours as requested in their email of December 7th. You'll recall that you've done this once before. The police would be there to make sure that they're not conducting business, but that the contractor is the only one working. Pleasure of the board.
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Move in seconded. If I may just add to the motion that the fire department also be provided notice that they're going to be in there working. If that's acceptable?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Call for the vote?
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative.
We have a dog complaint in your packet of December 7th. You received a copy of a complaint of a vicious or barking dog. Absent resolution of this matter before then, I suggest the board hold a hearing on January 29th, 2008 at 7 p.m. Pleasure of the board.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to schedule that hearing if the matter is not resolved prior, and that we send notice of that hearing to the dog owner.
If that date works for you, so moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Discussion? There being none? Call for the vote?
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative.
We have a request to transfer, it's to transfer the location of a Class II license. Request was being made on behalf of John Shagru of 215 Main Street regarding a transfer of a Class II license from 370A Main Street to 215 Main Street. It's an interesting question, and in my manager's report, I'm asking whether the board would wish to simply approve it as it is tonight, or would you prefer the applicant come into your next meeting, which would be December 18th? If I may, I'd like to give some background on that. Mr. Chagru's license is for 2 vehicles, so he can sell 2 vehicles. Under our zoning bylaw, I won't say entitled, but property owners can have up to 2 unregistered vehicles on their property. So he can have 2 unregistered vehicles there anyway, but he needs the Class II license in order to sell them. So it doesn't appear that, on the face of it, that it's something that needs site plan review. It's not like Mr. Farland's 142 cars. It's 2 cars. Pleasure of the board?
I'd entertain a motion to have Mr. Shagru come in and present his request.
Can you move it?
I can't.
So moved.
Second for discussion.
Moved and seconded for discussion. Selectman Lamountain.
Well, Madam Chair, is this a public hearing required for this? As Joe had said, I can sell 2 cars at the end of my driveway without having any permission from anybody. Mr. Shagru does have a license for 2 cars. Maybe a swap of address. I don't know if it's necessary that he come for us, or if we can just transfer it.
Maybe if I could just, I think I want to clarify with the town manager. You can have 2 vehicles, but you can't sell them without the license.
That's right.
Right.
So he needs the license to sell them, and he wants to transfer the location of the license to a new place. So I do recall, did we have a correspondence from Tech Review for this request?
Yes.
And it was approved?
Yes, they had no
They'd
problem
reviewed
with
it,
it.
and they had no problem with it. I do recall that letter. I'll leave it up to the board. He's been operating with this license for a period of time. I don't believe that there have been any problems. I don't think he's ever been cited, or that he's been non-compliant in any way. So,
Tech Review has no
Madam
problem.
Chair, I really shouldn't be here for this discussion. It's Class 2, and my son has a Class 2. However, I will leave, and I noticed that Mr. Shagru is here if the board does decide they want to speak to him. He's here.
come on,
Chair, I'll also be stepping down as well.
Okay.
She's insured.
you want to come up? I think you just walked in, I didn't see you sitting there behind Mr. Donace. Good evening.
I'd do it for you.
You better hurry up, they're dropping like flies up here.
Yeah, I know, they're all running
Gonna have enough to vote on your license. Good evening, thanks for coming in.
Hi.
What do you want, what are you looking to do?
Basically, it's a family business being handed down, going down the street. That's it. We have a site plan, we have met all the criteria. I don't know if you have it all in front of you.
We did receive it in our packets over the weekend from Tech Review, you've been in
Yeah,
front of them.
Yeah, everybody seems to think it's not really a big issue.
Okay,
Nor do I, Jen. I think that he's run a good business, as you said, for years. You, your father, there's been no problems. We've done compliance checks. You've never come up as anything but positive in a compliance check. The location where you want to go with 2 cars, there's more than 2 cars
There's plenty
that
of
don't
room.
belong to you there anyway.
Yeah, they're always there.
People park there anyway on you, yes. So, it'll help you define your boundaries, and I see no problem with just granting you the transfer as requested.
Thank you.
I have no
okay.
problem either, Madam Chair.
Well, there is a motion on the floor that he come in, and he is here, so that's good. So, having said that, I will, I will call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 3 in the affirmative, 2 abstentions, that is allowed.
Thank you.
Was that
Manager?
a motion to,
The mo,
that was your
Motion to
motion to have
transfer.
him come in?
Okay, so he's here. I'd entertain a motion to transfer, to allow the request to transfer.
so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 3 in the affirmative, 2 abstentions, that will occur.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Musical chairs tonight, look at that.
She's stepping down.
She's going to sit down for a while. For quite a while. Oh, that's his father. Thank you, Madam Chairman. We have package store licenses. You'll recall last meeting I had you sign a number of licenses requesting tonight the board vote to approve the 3 all alcohol and 5 wine and malt package store licenses for the 8 establishments listed on the attached. I need to read them. They are Hometown Wine and Liquors, Oxford Package Store, and Oxford Shell.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and seconded, discussion? Being,
Madam Chair, I can't vote on the Oxford Shell. I didn't realize that was
Okay,
in there. Joe.
you'll have to, I'm sorry, you'll have to abstain.
okay,
3 votes is fine.
call for the vote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
3 in the affirmative, 2 abstentions, motion carries.
And then there's, for the wine and malt package store, 732 Express, Honey Farms Incorporated at 24 Sutton Avenue, Paul Holmberg, the DBA The Villager, Southside Convenience Store at 182 Main Street, that's across from the fire station, and Shamrock Farms, 233 Main Street.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Selectman Lamount.
Madam Chair, I have no problem with 4 of the 5, but one of those, 732 Express, that's that new place down near Walmart. We issued a license, I believe, contingent upon certain criteria being met in September, I think the deadline was. And it looks like the building's done, but nobody's in there.
I don't
So
understand that either.
I would like to remove 732 Express, if possible, from this motion. And either discuss them or have them come before us, because, that license hasn't been activated, if you will, right?
Right, well, he hasn't used it. What happened was that his partner dropped out of the deal, so he's, there's financing issues, but it sounds like everything's gonna be a go. It's just a matter of, he lost his partner early on in the game.
Okay, then I guess if we grant it, I'd like to call them inactivity or not using the license is a violation of the license. This license has never been exercised since the day we issued it.
Right.
So, you know, I mean,
Why don't we vote not to issue it at this point, because it's issued under certain terms and conditions and contingencies, so why don't we ask him to come in and give us a status on where he is on that project?
Thank you.
So we will remove 732 Express from this motion. Okay, call for the vote?
yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention.
Under pouring licenses, request the board vote to approve, 9 all-alcohol, 3 all-alcohol club, and 3 wine and malt pouring licenses for the 15 establishment listed on the attached, contingent upon meeting 106 safety requirements. Pleasure of the board, I will read the first group. All alcohol pouring licenses, Happy Garden Restaurant, Oxford's Casual Dining, I'll hold off on the third one, North End Pub, Centerfolds 2000, Pine Ridge Country Club, Periwinkle's Pub and Restaurant, Oxford Tavern, Whistle Stop Bar and Grill.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1
And the one I
abstention.
left out is Days End.
I'd entertain a motion to grant.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes, 3 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, 1 not present.
That's the 9 all-alcohol. The 3 all-alcohol club are Veterans Council Incorporated, 227 Main Street, Singletary Rod and Gun Club Incorporated, 300 Sutton Avenue, Oxford Post 5663, Veterans of Foreign Wars, 20 Federal Hill Road.
I'd entertain a motion to approve Veterans Council, Inc. and Oxford Post 5663, Veterans of Foreign Wars.
So moved.
Seconded?
Sorry about that.
Okay. Moved and seconded, discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention.
And I will entertain a motion to approve Singletary Rod and Gun Club.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Second, discussion. There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes, 3 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, 1 not present.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. Okay. And then wine and malt pouring, we'll do them separately. New England Pizza.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 2 abstentions, 3 in the affirmative, motion carries.
And Chef Hung, Millbury Boulevard.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention, motion
Oh, I'm
carries.
sorry. Oh, no, there's only 2. Okay.
Got 'em
I
all.
thought we had 3, thank you. And then under that, after all of that, we have the ABCC paperwork. The board will consider all of the licenses. However, we want to make it clear that 106 certificates are only valid through the sprinkler installation deadline extension. If the establishments fail to comply with the deadlines, they will be closed by the appropriate authority. So permit holders need to be aware of that.
Joe, may I ask who would issue that cease and desist? Would that come from the Board of Selectmen, the Fire Department, the police? How would that work?
For Fire Safety Act violations, it would be the fire chief. If it's a 106, an occupancy problem, or building code violation, it would be the building inspector.
Thank you.
We have a request for Sunday entertainment license. Request the board vote to approve the Sunday entertainment licenses for the Oxford Tavern, Periwinkle's, and North End Pub. Pleasure of the board.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, any discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 4 in the affirmative, 1 abstention.
I wanted, at your last meeting, your meeting of December 4th, a question was raised regarding activities at the gas station across from the middle school. I want to assure the board that the planning board and the Board of Health are each considering appropriate action concerning the neighbors' complaints. You will also, or you have received in your packets, a letter from the town of Charlton. They're looking for a source of water to fill their water mains. although their letter suggests that the town has sufficient capacity to meet their needs, I've confirmed that the water company system and wells do not have enough capacity, given their Water Management Act limitations. I will be responding to the town of Charlton in writing.
Selectman Coonan?
Thank you. This was my request this evening. I read this letter, and I remember the water company coming in front of this board, talking about some of the deficiencies that we may have with our own, and we're always talking about development in that corridor on Route 20. Joe, you mentioned that you will be getting back to them. Could you have the water company also send them a letter, too? I don't know where they're getting their information from, but as it is right now, we may be getting a little tight as well.
That's right.
You know, that Route 20 has a lot of potential for development, not to mention industrial, commercial development, and then there's also proposed housing dwellings going up there as well, too. We really can't, it'd be nice to help them out, but we can't and take care of the good for their own town here as well.
I will do that.
So
Thank you.
please inform them so they get their records straight as well.
And finally, electrical inspector fees, given all the flurry activity you have with the permits, my question to you was going to be, do you want to consider it further tonight? I doubt that anybody has it fresh in their mind. I'd like to suggest we have an agenda item next meeting to go over that electrical inspector fees.
That's fine. Did we ever get any follow-up? I know that there was a request for justification/explanation of those fees, and perhaps it was in our package some time ago. I know that we saw some benchmarking with other towns, and I know after looking at some of those different fees, I had more questions than I did before we got that packet, but I don't recall seeing justification as to why our fees were being recommended. For example, hourly rate, what's it cost the town to send somebody out? How are we structuring those fees to cover our costs, and what's coming back to the town?
We'll make sure you get those in your mail Friday.
Thank you. Selectman Glant?
Madam Chair, I will not be at the meeting next week. If this isn't an urgent decision, can we hold it till the following meeting?
We can hold it till January.
Yep.
Okay.
It'd be good to have the whole board here on that.
Thank you.
Selectman Lamont?
You brought up a very good point insofar as the split and how it works. In the information that we received, we see what the surrounding communities are charging for an inspection, a panel, or what have you. But as Jen said, what percentage of their fees go back to the town coffer, and then what percentage goes to the electrical inspector? But that
Okay.
wasn't information that we received.
Okay.
So I'd like to know what that is as well.
Thank you.
That finishes my report, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Selectman Lamont?
Madam Chair, I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you. Selectman Coonan?
My key one was that water issue, but just a follow-up from last week, it's nice to see that paving was done on Route 12, and I think our DPW personnel and plows really appreciate that over the last couple of days, and in the upcoming week, we expect to get some more storms. They did a wonderful job in the sanding and salting during that horrific ice storm, and tell them to keep up the good work, that they are logging a lot of hours in right now, and it's probably one of the hardest jobs. You're out there all night with zero visibility, just driving every single road in Oxford, and they don't miss many. They do a really great job, and congratulations to them for keeping our roads safe and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Selectman Glant?
I just have one, since I won't be here next week, I have a personal obligation. I just want to wish you all a happy holiday season, happy and healthy. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
You too.
Selectman Sad?
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you. I had the memorandum that we received from Charlton, which was addressed, and also the setting the annual town meeting date, which the town manager addressed in his report. So that's all I have this evening. We also have, as set forth in our agenda, we will be going into executive session under Section 3 of the Open Meeting Law to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the government's bargaining or litigating position, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, to conduct collective bargaining, and to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel. So we will be adjourning and going into executive session, coming out of executive session for the sole purpose of adjourning the meeting. Okay. I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Seconded, discussion? There being none, I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, 5 in the affirmative, we're going into executive session. Thank you for coming.